Ahmed Tinubu. At the inception of this government, so many reforms were introduced by the government, and we have seen different international and local bodies praising some of the economic reforms of Mr. President, removal of fuel subsidy, the unification of the forex market, and of course the introduction of that tax reform, which has actually shored up the revenue generation drive of the country. But then, on paper, some of these reforms are very, very good, but when you speak with an average Nigerian, they will tell you that the cost of living is quite high and that they are not feeling the impact of some of this reform. So this morning, we'll be looking at the Tinubu's economic reform vis-a-vis the cost of living in the country. And we have in the studio with us, Kola Olaitan is a chartered accountant. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. IMF just named all those bodies that are very interested in the economic situation of any country globally. They have all appraised the economic reforms of Mr. President. And I know that when it comes to Naira and Kobo, you are very good at it. But go to the market, go and talk to the masses and tell them that Mr. President is actually on the right direction, trying to reshape the economy of the country, putting it on the right path. The figures are not making sense to them when you mention GDP, foreign direct investment, because of the high cost of living. So are we on the right path looking at some of these reforms of Mr. President, and what can we do to actually allow Nigerians to see sense in what Mr. President and members of his team are doing to make the country great again?
Yeah, once again, good morning, and good morning to your viewers also. Let's look at it this way. We all know the level. We've heard so much about what was happening to the economy before the reforms started. I do not want to say when the president took off. And we've had a lot of warnings even before the Buhari administration came in. I'm not here to speak for any government, but just to lay it bare before us. One thing I want to say very clearly is this. Take a look at an individual who possibly has not been working for some years. He's been broke and he just started working. And you do not expect that from day one he will be able to rent a house, buy a car, and do all sorts of things. That will be the kind of analogy I want to give to what is happening to the economy. What we hear a lot of times, like the economists will always want to divide it into, is the macro side of the economy and the micro. The macro is a lot of things that we hear about what is going on, what the government is trying to do, the issue of fuel subsidy removal, the issue of the forex merger, the window, and so on and so forth, and a lot of other things, including the tax reform. The tax reform is just one of those things that has been done, to ensure that the government is able to get more money. And also, let's not look away from that, and also to ensure that, look, some of the things that we see around taxation in Nigeria is able to. We know very well that a lot of the laws around the taxation in Nigeria has been there for ages, and that's exactly what has been done. But just succinctly put, it is not wrong for people to expect that things should change, but there is no doubt it will take a while. Right. The only thing is this: pending when that will happen, so that we all will not die, what should government be doing? Okay. Will be things that we ought to be looking at. Absolutely. To cushion the effect of the hardships and so on and so forth. We've gone this way before when we had SAP. We all knew very well. Yes, exactly. I remember then that some colleagues of mine bought their vehicles, even with all the paddings, wheel cover and so on and so forth, bought their vehicle for 504 SR then, yes, for 13,500, which ordinarily would have been about 7,000 plus or so. But I ended up towards the tail end in 1986, July or so. I ended up rushing to buy from the Basco then, mine for 20,500. Today, that cannot even buy you a tube. So what I'm saying is, all of a sudden, the thing just came like that. And it taught us a lot of lessons. Yeah. And I thought if we had learned very well from that, we probably won't be where we are today. Because it was then that people started this issue of Adire and all whatnots. A lot of things that you are made in Nigeria, and even all these tailors and so on and so forth, bringing things out. Some of us who are used to suits and so on started wearing local materials and buying local materials. So all I want to say is this, to answer your question, is to say that, look, to expect that there will be that turnaround at the local level, in 3 years. In 3 years.
It's more or less like asking for a miracle.
No. Not even in 8 years.
Yeah, okay.
No doubt about that.
Mr. Olaitan, I like how you, the analogy you created probably is the best analogy so far, and that should help Nigerians understand the state of the Nigerian economy before the advent of this administration, and how the reforms introduced have been helping to at least put things better on paper first before we start seeing them translate into what the average Nigerian can see. And Ajibola mentioned quite a number of the reforms, but I'm going to ask this way. Sometimes we expect the miracle to come from the federal government. Let's also look at the role of the state government here in ensuring that the many reforms coming from the federal government is also localized, so that it is not just at the federal level that we're expecting these reforms to translate into what the ordinary Nigerians can feel. So how do we begin to hold the governors more accountable at ensuring that those reforms that Mr. President is working on can also work at the state level, either to the local level?
Thank you so much. Actually, that's exactly what I was talking about, the issue of cushioning the effect of all this. I'll give you a little example. As I was driving towards this place, I looked at one thing along the way, on my way, and what I saw was a particular local government. To a lot of people, that was a nice one. That was a good one. Painting and drawing on the fence of people there. And I told myself, with what is going on in the economy, should this be where our money should be going? A lot of local governments, a lot of states are making a lot of money now. And what you hear with the level of our economy is the money they are making, rather than injecting it into people's lives, making sure that things are there. You imagine some states spending money on airports. And the question is, how many of us, of those people within that area, can afford to?
The air ticket.
The understanding will be that, look, they are doing all these things for themselves and their cronies, who will be able to fly into their states. You see, if the local governments and the states, and that's what the president seems to have been saying over the years, hold your governors accountable and your chairmen accountable. It's even worse with the local government. Sometimes, some years back, I used to say that, look, do we really need those people? Because in most cases, that is where things go wrong so much in this country. And but look, it's very sad that a lot of us don't even look their way at all. We don't even bother what is their budget and how they are spending the money. And when they come into the marketplace to gather people together to dance around them and so on and so forth, in my community, for example, we had to kind of put ourselves together and start contributing money for solar lights and so on and so forth. Not my community in Lagos, my home place. And I ask myself,
Should this
what
be
exactly,
what is the local
what is the
government
local government doing? If we want to start, what is the local government doing? And somebody said we should forget it. And I said, look, we cannot forget it. Yes, I want my people to enjoy what is going on. I am not making money from government.
Yeah.
What I have now is just a bit of my savings and what I get from my kids. So I cannot just be dumping it when some people collect more money now and they are not making judicious use of it. So what I want people to do, and I think I've emphasized it enough here in the past, is that people should please stop dancing around these chairmen, these governors, when they start providing them things that they do not need, to please get to them and ask them questions.
Right.
Look, another election is coming. I know in a
Campaigns
lot
will
of
begin
cases,
soon.
campaign will begin. Stories will be told, promises will be made, but you need to kind of ask questions. You need to find out exactly what is going on. And when those of their agents who comes to you talk to you, you want to ask questions. Even though
Sincerely apologize for the glitch in the audio there. We still have our guest in the studio this morning, and we're still taking a look at the economic reforms of Mr. President vis-a-vis the cost of living in Nigeria. And before that break, Mr. Olaitan was wrapping up his submission on what the state and the local government should do better in this stead. But before you wrap up, I mean, you've talked about the facts that we need to hold them more accountable, but perhaps maybe you'd like to look at certain areas that you'd like for them to intervene in, knowing full well that sometimes, yes, we have a penchant for not asking for the needs of the people. We just assume that this is what the people should need, and in actual fact, sometimes we get it all wrong. So what manner of approach would you suggest for government, especially at the state and local level, to apply more in ensuring that they're actually delivering the needs of the people as part of cushioning the effect of the economic reforms?
okay, what are we talking about? We're talking about cost of living.
Right.
And all we want to say is, look, we expect that both the federal, state, and the local government will address their minds to what it costs every one of us to live on a daily basis until we are able to get to a level where we will be able to kind of afford better what is we're supposed to be able to kind of live with. Look, let's pick transportation, for example. I have criticized the issue of the removal of fuel subsidy only on one basis. And that is the fact that, look, we all knew very well that this was going to spiral into serious cost.
Inflation.
The inflation, yes, exactly. The other day I took someone to the Ojota garage there, and I was shocked when they said Adoekiti 20,000 naira. Now, what I'm saying really is this is issue of CNG and all whatnot. Look, we all move out of this country, not that it is that cheap, but you have what you call affordable transportation. What a lot of the things that was done on the CNG thing was a kind of a rush thing. Those are things that ought to have been planned, that we would have been applied more into public transportation. Look, the ones that were given to all these private sector operators, downfall drivers and all whatnot, ought to have been properly planned and plow into public transportation system all over, such that, look, both within intra and interstate transportation. The other time I remember, even the pricing of some government
Vehicles?
no, not just vehicles, in terms of the services.
Okay.
I remember some whatever ago, I was driving past, I was going towards the airport, and I saw
The toll.
the toll, whatever. Now you want to drive past that road, they charge you 500 naira for a car.
Right.
And I ask myself, if our government is that concerned with us, that a lot of the services, vehicle licensing, driver's license, whatever, if they are making more money from fuel subsidy and making more money, look, if the private individuals are charging more, I do not expect that
Government should also do
both
that,
federal,
and
state, and local, we charge more. No, it doesn't make sense, because to me, they are making more money
Right.
to be able to apply. So, which means, look, they ordinarily, what the more money they are now making, getting out of us,
we're still paying more.
yes, we're still paying more. So that ordinarily wouldn't make sense. For goodness sake, these days when you hear what people spend on healthcare, you ask, you pray never to ever get
To fall sick.
ordinary malaria. So I expect that even though the federal government did something about the issue of on the issue of pharmaceutical productions, import of pharmaceutical drugs,
right.
and so on and so forth, but for goodness sake, up till now, it's still what it is. And what do you get? It got us to a situation where most of the medications you get in the market come from Asia. I would rather prefer to buy what is manufactured in Nigeria.
Here.
Look, most of the time when I get to the pharmacy, I tell them,
I don't want imported.
I don't want imported. Exactly. I prefer locally manufactured paracetamol or whatever, and some other things that are manufactured here, because I know they would have gone through a lot of, rather than somebody giving me something that comes from Asia that you cannot vouch for. So on that, education, yes, if the federal government did the loan thing, I still do not know what a lot of the state governments are doing. Yes, I know they give bursary. What they do is to indigents, a lower fee, and so on and so forth. But they could do more.
Right.
Okay.
You see, these are the areas that I expect that they will intervene in the lives of average individuals in the country.
Okay.
So that we do not, that side of it would have been reduced. And then try as much as possible to nip corruption in the bud. I'm sure you all saw a video or a clip of one of the states where the drugs that was meant for hospitals were being siphoned out and sold by some individuals. We are so callous, we are so greedy in this country. That's another area that we ought to look at. A lot of interventions anyway that can help people to be able to survive better.
Right.
But transportation is
very key.
Very key. And I'm still wondering why up till now there has been nothing so serious to ensure that people can transport themselves. If you have if you have anything to do, for example, you imagine a youth copper who is probably wrapping up and is in Ado Ekiti, want to come to Lagos for an interview.
20,000 how many times?
40,000 naira.
To and fro.
Yes, exactly. To and fro. And 40,000 naira will just bring him or her here and back. How will
And you
such
still find
a
your way
around
within Lagos.
within
and
Lagos.
it is also possible that, look, that job may not
You might not even get it.
You might not even get it.
Okay, Mr. Olaitan, I want you to convince Nigerians if the government, whether federal, local, or state now, if they are not prodigal. You mentioned CNG buses the other time. I can hardly see the impact of CNG buses. It was promised then by Mr. President that, okay, we are bringing CNG buses into the country. The amount of CNG buses that we have in the country, they are not significant compared to the pains that Nigerians are going through. And we are seeing government spending money, like they will say, like money is water. They are living large, they are living in affluence, and Nigerians can hardly compare the standard of living to that of those that are in government. So how do you want Nigerians to bear with you, knowing full well that you have said earlier that Rome was not built in 8 years. So how do you want Nigerians to reason with government, looking at the lifestyle of those in government?
Yes.
And the minimum wage is 70,000.
Yes. Let me quickly address the issue of minimum wage, please. You see, the issue of minimum wage, I hope some people will bear with me. I always look at things from this perspective. The minimum wage is not meant for somebody who will want to rent a accommodation. Is even an issue that I did not mention earlier on, because you now have a situation where people are paying whatever. Now you see what this economy is teaching us, and that is the truth, and that's the way a lot of the people over there who japa live their life, is to do one thing and the other.
You prioritize.
Yes, exactly. Prioritize and possibly look for more. Yes.
Do more jobs.
But sometimes, even when you look at the way people spend money in this country, sometimes you ask yourself, are we really broke? I'm sorry, I will come back to your question. It is not my duty to convince the populace. I think it is the government to convince people that they are doing what's the name called. The CNG thing seems to have died down. Yeah. And a lot of times I'm even amazed. If you get to the filling station on your Agidingbi here,
Queues.
When you see that queue, it is for CNG. And I ask, what exactly is happening? You expect that if...
You should just go in and get it.
Imagine if all of us were to be using CNG, if we all convert. That's the way we would have been queuing up at the filling station.
Even the outlets are not many.
Yes, that's the reason you have the queues. The other day along this, what's the name of that street now, the one that leads to the Pensinema Bridge, I saw a long queue there, and I was asking myself, what are they doing some free whatever there? Maybe I also should go and queue for it. And I saw that, it was a CNG filling station there. So you a lot of times we mouth things. Yeah. And my major concern there is the fact that the federal government announces these things. I also expect that the subnationals, as they are called, should also key into it. I do not know where the buses that a lot of, just like you said, where they are. At a point in time, I learned Lagos State also bought some of these buses. I got these buses. I don't know where they are. I have not seen that of Ogun State anywhere. But all I have seen was a video well over a year ago, if not more, displaying all these things. We hope maybe certain things, they still have to work out some things. You know, sometimes the government gets out to show us some things, not looking at how it will work. And somebody probably just sit up there and is expecting that, oh, yes, roll out the buses. It is when they now want to start implementation that they start, oh, you must do this, you must do that, you must do this, and so on and so forth. So I guess that is what the government need to do. Right. I'm emphasizing that. It is left for them to do just that. But you see, I want to say talk about the issue of people who are in government, how they live. Look, a lot of them, the other day I saw an Inspector General of Police, retired, cross-carpeting from one party to another, and I asked myself, what is this guy actually looking for again in his life? He wants to possibly become a governor or become a senator or whatever. What does he want again in his life? Because we all knew what they always leave service for, with, I mean, not for. What they always leave service with. What again does he want again? And just before I came into the studio here, and I was asking myself, you see the greed in every one of us, and it's not just about
those
the people, those in power, average Nigerians, including the very young ones, those who are even poverty-stricken, extremely greedy. And I do not know what kind of prayers we can offer or what we can do to get that thing out of us. Because I sit back and I ask myself, is it just not to wake up, sleep on a bed, wake up in the morning, but we want to show the whole world that this is what I am, I have this, I have that, and so on. And just overnight, you may just sleep. Look, a member of my group in the club, the Baba became 80 on the 26th of May, told me he was coming to Lagos from his US of A, United States of Adekiti, not United States of America. Sent me a message on the 2nd and said he was coming, that I should just send him an account where he will put money. And by 5th, on Friday, he was gone. He slept and didn't wake up. So, and I told myself, what exactly are we
looking for?
And each time I sleep like that since then, I always tell myself, for few days thereafter, I always find it very difficult to sleep. Right. And yet, some people will still wake up today, have the whole of Lagos State to themselves, and they still want to make more.
Right. We are very insatiable as humans.
And before I go, please, a minister of God was on TV the other day criticizing the senators and all whatnots. That look, what do they want? That they living in affluence. And I was just asking myself, I was hoping the anchor will ask him, how many of your members in the church can live the kind of life you have an aircraft to yourself? You see, and people are still, I'm sorry, I hope I won't be blaspheming. People still go there to donate their money to these people. That somebody will tell me, oh, once I was poor, now I am rich. And you did not ask him, how did he make the money? In the church, in the mosque. What for? I'm a Christian, but for goodness sake, we need to just wake up. Because with all that we are saying, people still dump their money where they ought not to dump it.
Our God is good.
Thank you.
All the time. Before we go, finally, let's quickly look at the inflation rate, especially food inflation. At the moment, inflation rate is about 15.93%, while food inflation stands at 16.9%. So how, especially with the Central Bank of Nigeria and its monetary policy issues, what exactly do we need to do as a government, now all subnationals, to deal with issues surrounding food inflation? I know that a lot of people will say insecurity still remains one of the largest problems, but how do we ensure that there is light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, we just talked about the talk of the issue of, you mentioned insecurity, the major one. And people have actually spoken about the issue of
Storage
a situation
facilities?
where storage,
Right.
not just storage, that we can, some of all these things we plant that are seasonal products we can be planted around the year if we apply what ought to be applied. And so that, look, you do not have a situation where at a particular point in time the tomato is available and at another time it's not available. Let me also say this to a lot of our people around. Please, I have mentioned it here before, that I have a business partner in the UK. He moved out of London to Norfolk. And look, when Kelvin calls me, Kola, let's have lunch, his tomato and all whatnot.
Bring from his back,
Yes.
his back farm.
You see, a lot of times these days, what you see is people concretizing their
Their
premises rather than leaving the place. Oh, I remember in those days when our moms, our parents, throw
Would
away their
also
tomato and whatever.
pepper or
You see the
pepper
thing
water.
growing there. But what do? Everywhere is concrete now.
Right.
We don't allow some of these things to grow. We can also do
Home garden.
Yes, exactly, home garden.
Like the first
and get
lady.
no, seriously, you know, I believe seriously in that. That particularly those of our people who are not in Lagos here, Mowe, Ibafo and Co. You can just do that. Beyond that, let's hope the insecurity thing will allow people to farm.
Go back to their farm.
And I read somewhere yesterday that the issue of the security is being fought. Let's hope those who are gaining from it will allow us breathe, because I want to believe seriously that some people are benefiting from it, and because of the benefits, which they are not even sure of they will ever spend, they keep on promoting it. I can't, you know, you still talking about the greed of Nigerians. You imagine somebody kidnapping himself or herself
For ransom.
and so for ransom, and then you children telling the parents I've been kidnapped, go and
Pay this
secure me,
ransom.
and so on and so forth. You don't really even know.
Which
You
is
see,
which.
we all keep on shouting Fulani, and
Everybody has
those of
different-
us that are the people around us, we are not talking about them. Let me address the issue of food inflation that you mentioned, but that is all
around it.
It is a fact that, look, if only the local governments and the states, local government in particular, will make the roads passable for the farmers, make things, and the farmers also do away with their greed, I guess we will be a lot better.
Right.
No doubt about that.
Okay, Mr. Olaitan, quickly, probably in 1 minute before you go, how patient should we be with the reforms of Mr. President, knowing fully well that he's seeking for another 4-year term? Are we likely to start feeling the impact eventually if he's elected for another term?
Now, I'm not in government.
But you know about the economy.
Yes, I know about the economy. Yeah, but you see, the solutions are always there. It all depends on whether we want to apply it. We've talked about a lot of issues here, and hoping that the president will be able to kind of prevail on some of the subnationals to do the needful. If they are able to, the subnationals in particular, if they are able to apply their resources judiciously, I'm sure the people will be better off.
Okay.
Look, I was talking to a prof in the university down there in one of the states in the southwest, and he said that was about last week, that their salary for May and June were yet to be paid. You see, that to me that is callous. And it's quite unfortunate that even in spite of all this, and that also, the other day I was forced to put this on the, what's the name called, that some Nigerians will even employ young ones, whether young or old, and will wait until about, because they do not want them to run away, and not pay them until about the 10th or 12th of the following month. And he will go to church or go to mosque to thank God. What are you thanking God for? So, you see, like I said, we are just not being fair
To ourselves.
Okay. The government can only but do a bit of, what's the name called? But we also should be fair. Look, I prefer to be more fair-minded. If you have your pensions abroad, because people know there will be consequence, nobody will tamper with your money. But if you don't claim it here in Nigeria, in about 2-3 months, somebody will claim it for you. Yeah. So if we all can do our own bits, let the government do its own, and let us also do our own. But sincerely yours, I believe in this road.
Long-term. Okay.
I believe in this road we are
passing We're on the right
through.
path.
No, we're on the right path as far as I'm concerned. All right. But for as long as we will do what ought to needed to be done
at the right time.
At the right time.
All right, a fine place to leave this conversation this morning. Thank you so much, Kola Olaitan, Chartered Accountant, for finding time to be with us on the program today and offering us your expertise. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, sir.
My pleasure.
That's the more to take on this side of the table this morning. And like Mr. Olaitan said, indeed,